Hello Ghana, and welcome to another edition of Eye on Port. Our proud sponsors are the Royal Bank, Star Assurance, UT Logistics, and the Ghana Community Network Services. Also, our media partner is the Business and Financial Times. Folks, this week we are concentrating on a very important subject that's almost been on the lips of every port user, and that is the number of agencies who are physically present in the port. Also, the various checkpoints that an importer or exporter would have to visit within the port before you get your goods cleared from the port. A lot of concerns have been raised that they are far too many. The Ministry of Trade has lamented, the Ministry of Finance has lamented, also the Ministry of Transport, in addition to all those agencies that are working in and around the port. The heads of these institutions have been speaking. Let's take a listen to their views as far as this issue is concerned.
We are saying that because of the multiplicity of resistance, for example, if you take frozen food products, we have the vet having interest in it, Food and Drugs Authority having this, Ghana Standard Board having authority on it, EPA having authority on it, and all these, and customs have all these. If they want to say they are going to take sampling on those things, you see the problem.
We often forget that when a truck gets stuck in the port, when it should have left in a day and leaves in 4 days, the inefficiency that is associated with it, all of it goes to add up to the cost of doing business, translates into inflation, and consequently, it means that it determines the rate at which our country goes.
Inefficient clearance processes add to cost. Overzealous inspection, of course, by our inspection agencies, and the multiplicity of all these agencies don't help.
If we bring a poultry meat or chicken, the question is it FDA or is veterinary? You know, this is the situation. Then EPA comes in. So you have the one, it's being handled by 3, 4, 5 different companies.
So it means that you can have a legal clause where every organization has multiplicity of this thing, still doing the same thing.
Sometimes, you know, we talk about a multiplicity of agencies, but I can tell you, all of them, they are important. The key thing is, to what extent are we harnessing the potential of technology so that we don't create cumbersome bottlenecks along the line.
In some jurisdictions, what happens is that you fill only one form, and that form is downloaded onto a system, and all the agencies have access to that form. So when you fill that document, you download it on a platform, and all the agencies can access it. And as they access, they give you approval online. And if they give you approval online, you can easily come to the port and take your cargo without it. Yeah. That is the way forward.
And why are we not doing that?
Who champions it? That's the question. We have a ministry which must champion it. That's the Ministry of Trade. They must champion that cause.
There's a committee that is currently in place under the watchdog of the Ministry of Trade, trying to see how all these different groups and what have you can come up with a solution with all the various recommendations, and they were waiting for the report of this committee.
And if we apply technology appropriately, there should be no impediments. We will do only sporadic checks because, as I said, we can't open every container and scan everything. We can't do that. For example, if you have Food and Drugs Board Authority, the Ghana Standard Authority, sometimes you even look at their mandate, it conflicts.
Yes.
But they all have, by the virtue of their law that establish those organizations, they have that authority to do those things. So this is where we have. So if you have a product where Food and Drugs Board had Food and Drug Authority has an interest, Ghana Standard Board had an interest.
They will come for sampling.
The unfortunate thing is that these are all statutory bodies. Mm-hmm. Now, I mean, with while they are backed by law, I mean, we have equal powers, and so it becomes very, very difficult. And because of the fact that if they don't approve, you can't go. Full stop. It's as simple as that.
Several authorities are intent on undertaking their own responsibilities and, of course, maximizing revenue for the states. But then again, what it means is that it takes longer. We have several border checks and what have you, several systems of taxation which we need to harmonize.
So there should be a political authority a center
that would mandate everybody
to come together and load. So I will encourage the Ministry of Trade or Ministry of Finance, either one of the two, because customs work directly at the Ministry of Finance. Yeah, to come up with that platform where all the agencies in the port must be hooked onto it. That is how it should be.
Yeah.
Currently, everybody stand alone.
Indeed, it is estimated that if we were to facilitate trade globally, we will be adding $1.2 trillion to global GDP by 2020. Why then don't we facilitate trade?
So we are hoping that this committee can bring all these laws together, try and see how these individual powers, so to speak, can agree to come under some form of agreement. Fortunately also, the Office of the Presidency, is working towards this single window system, where all of them will come under one window on the electronic platform, so that whatever information that you require will be fed into the system.
I sat down with the minister, the deputy minister for trade and industry, who told me a lot about what that ministry is doing to spearhead this particular agenda. Take a listen.
I don't know if you've heard about the challenges that people have, the general public have lamented over the years regarding bottlenecks within the clearance chain and how long it takes one to clear goods from the port.
From where I sit at the Ministry of Trade as a deputy minister and also I handle trade, I am aware the challenges that indeed importers and exporters face day in, day out as a result of the goods they would either have to clear as a result of import or the goods that they would have to export out of the shores of this country. To a very large extent, the problem is compounded when you talk of import, that people would have to go through about 23 checkpoints before they have their goods cleared.
Are there really 23 checkpoints?
Of course there are 23 checkpoints. We from the Ministry of Trade indeed have taken that responsibility to see how we can help facilitate trade. You have a lot of agencies who are operating at the ports. If you take customs, for instance, you would have to go to about 3 different places for customs alone to have your goods cleared. You have Standard Authority, you have the Environmental Protection Agency, you have the National Security, you also have, if you like, Food and Drugs Authority, and many other agencies who are all operating. And we think that is affecting, trade facilitation hugely, considering the fact that time is sine qua non when you talk of any production chain. Even importers themselves, demurrages, which is affecting importers and affecting the state. Last year, for instance, over $100 million was what we incurred as a state as a result of demurrages, and I think that this affected importers and affectors. So the ministry tried to see if we could help to find solution to some of the problems that are confronting our importers and exporters, particularly at the ports. And a committee was actually set up. I was fortunate to have been asked by the minister to chair that committee, and it was through that committee that it was obvious to us that they had 23 checkpoints. We had all the stakeholders. Free forwarders were there. In this case, importers and exporters, GUTA, were also represented. You had customs, you had that. So it seems to me that any time at all we're talking about expansion of the ports, we are only looking at where the sea is.
Yeah.
We are not looking at the administrative area. It is haphazardly arranged. And I think that the earlier we do something about it, the better. The other issue has to do with the fact that it's not only the Ministry of Trade that is operating at the ports, of course. That is why the committee that I chaired, we had representation of all these agencies and these ministries. So having done with that, then there is going to be an inter-ministerial discussion. Okay. I believe that with the inter-ministerial discussion, we'll be able to streamline. It is also important to state, a lot of these agencies who are operating at the ports, they have some parliamentary or some authority. Some legal. There are legislative instruments indeed that gave them the mandate to do what they are doing. Yeah. And the simple question you ask yourself, can they still operate without necessarily being at the port? And I think that is the difficult question, and that has led to some of these challenges that we go through. Is if you travel to the United Kingdom or you travel to the United States of America, if you get to JFK, you may have a lot of security agencies who are operating at the airport. It doesn't mean that they do not exist. They are there. but it is not every passenger they would have to attend to. Before they can accost you, before they can ask you questions, they should have had sufficient reasons to suspect that, look, let's check this person. And I believe that we could have done the same thing. In fact, through the discussions, I've had some information that was extremely worrying. That if you take an agency like Standard Authority, they had complaints that they bring consignments, and then the Standard Authority operatives there would want to go through every single item.
Indeed.
And every single item going through would take not weeks but months. And I think that these are issues that we're all looking at. And thank God that Ghana and government is moving towards a single window. And I believe that once we succeed in completing the processes of moving to this single window, I believe that some of these problems would have been solved or reduced drastically.
I have seen a document that is supposed to be a report of a committee on streamlining of clearance procedures at the port, and it's very comprehensive, and per reading it sounds very interesting, and it sounds very hopeful also to a lot of people who do business within the port, because you intend to reduce the number of checkpoints from 23 to 14, which means that we're going to see a drastic reduction in where importers have to move to within the clearance.
They even reduce further because of this single window introduction. You know, mind you, this thing was done long. In fact, we started working on this long before this consultancy issue came up, and then so we are just coordinating with what they have done entirely, and it helped facilitate the work of customs. Like I said,
and I recognize some of the recommendations you've made in the report from that committee which you chair, and that includes one. It says elimination of physical presence of departments and agencies from the port, and they should operate remotely outside the port. What does that mean?
If you go to the port and then you have all these agencies, you can have about 10-5 people who are all operating. People bring goods, they would all have to check them. You know, now with this, you don't even with the internet, or if like the paperless system, they don't necessarily need to be there. They can even have one person who is there. I see that. Like I told you, before even your consignment or your goods arrived, you would have done a lot of this work through the internet. You just apply and then they do that. If there is a sufficient reason to attend to a particular consignment, assuming that they have gone through and Food and Drug Authority says no, we have national security reports that this thing, or the BNI report that we suspect this particular container. Okay, so we think that they have goods that are not supposed to be brought in there. You can have the Food and Drugs Authority or the agency that is tasked with the responsibility to ensure that this thing must not be brought. Then they can have access to that container and then they go through it. But when you have all these people being present and they attend to almost everything, creating that necessary delay is something that we're looking forward to reducing. Now with a single window, we also intend to have just one room, so that you walk in there, you attend to this, and off you go. So that you don't necessarily need to have the veterinary inspection will also be there. Must they attend to everything? What is due to those agencies can easily be calculated and paid. So customs does all the charges. You pay this for veterinary, you pay this for this. It is transferred to those companies, so that you don't need to even have somebody who is there. But of course, you would have the representation.
And you also mentioned the elimination of task forces and other security agencies.
We think that the task forces, there are a lot of task forces that are there. I remember that when they started...
And your government brought them?
Yes, of course. The task forces are brought at any point in time, not my government alone. And
I mean governments, including yours.
And mind you, in Parliament, mind you, some of the security agencies and agencies were operating, they were through parliamentary legislative action. Parliament took it and said this person should be there. So it is difficult to tell them stop. So that is why we are looking for an involving even Parliament, so that government can then begin. When we have the inter-ministerial meeting, then we would put it to them. These are the recommendations of the committee.
Yeah.
So that the ministry will also look at how they can do to have some of them.
So now the Ministry of Trade agrees that we should eliminate the task forces and some other security agencies in the port, because you agree that they also add up to the bottlenecks.
They may not be eliminated entirely, like I told you.
But maybe their presence is everywhere would not be.
It doesn't necessarily mean that, like it's a routine. When they come, okay, national security must go first. Then after National Security, Food and Drugs Authority.
There's another one I'm interested in. You said that we should review sampling procedure and sample sizes by regulatory agencies. Customs chemists should be made to sample for these other agencies.
Fantastic. I mean, there is nothing wrong with customs even doing that. And I guess you amply raised that issue. That the other agency should have the confidence and believing in what customs does. Are you getting what I'm saying? Yeah. Now, if you take a sample and they are sending it to, let's say, Food and Drugs Authority, they bring it out of custom or Stamp Authority and send it there. Imagine the traffic and others. So that we can even have, if we need to have representation, one person each in those, because the equipments are virtually the same. They sample it and then we all see. I don't think that they should be in it.
Addressing transit challenges. You mentioned that the Guru Boy syndrome is at the borders is a problem. It's got to be removed. Harassment of drivers by police and custom officers is also another thing.
That is where the Minister of Interior, also the Minister of Finance, and then the National Security must also come in.
Why do we have Guru Boys?
Unfortunately, maybe I should.
Is it legitimate?
Absolutely legitimate.
So why do we have them?
I don't know. And somehow you even find state operatives of state agencies. If you go to the ports, you find them, and then they walk into the offices in and out. And I think that something must be done. The Minister of Trade cannot do that.
Who should do it?
The Minister of Interior, the National Security, the appropriate state agencies must do that. And our expectation is that once this report is finally submitted, once we all agree that this is something that we ought to implement, it ought to be implemented.
And how soon do you think we can see the end of these many agencies, possibly?
I wish we see the end by tomorrow. But I must admit that yes, it's a tedious process. But the only positive thing is that we are moving faster than even we ourselves anticipated.
We wish you well.
Hopefully, if all these organizations buy in the idea and this particular report and implement the recommendations, the clearance process will definitely be better than it is today, and we will have smooth trade in the port. Iron Port returns pretty shortly.
About there ain't no limitations to your amazing grace, your amazing grace. And there's something about the way your love shines on my face. Oh no, I can never get enough of you.
Star Assurance, creating smiles since 1985. Let go. Let's celebrate 30 years of solid partnership. Star Assurance, your solid partner.
I'll take care of you.
There's a place in my heart that makes me feel that you're the one. It's a place I wanna be, 'cause satisfaction guaranteed. From strength to strength you help me grow, 'cause you're there for me. And teach me how to be independent, 'cause you
The Royal Bank.
The Royal Bank.
The Royal Bank.
Banking with transparency, commitment to integrity.
The Royal Bank.
The Royal Bank. The Royal Bank.
The Royal Bank. Real banking, real difference.
UT Logistics have come to stay. When you approach a job like the way we approach it, each job is unique. Each client is unique. We provide the best service in the system. We have best staff. We are very fast. We are quick, and we save customers a lot of money.
News and activities happening within the port and maritime industry next.
The people of Takoradi can now heave a sigh of relief following the completion of a desalination plant which supplies potable water to the port community and the oil and gas industry. Hitherto, water was a major challenge for the port of Takoradi as oil and gas vessels had to purchase water from Abidjan and Togo at exorbitant cost. The port also had to rely on the limited supply of water by the water company in Takoradi, which was otherwise meant for the Takoradi community.
Water has been a big challenge for the port of Takoradi. That, in fact, the oil and gas ships would come, probably do their businesses here, and would have to proceed to Abidjan or Togo to lift water. Now, with Viking Offshore and GPHA combination, we've been able to set up desalination plants that provide 1,000 tons of water a day.
Currently, the water challenge at the port of Takoradi is a thing of the past, as the port authority with Viking Offshore have fully installed a desalination plant which provides 1,020 cubic meters of quality water every day for all operations at the port and for oil and gas supply vessels. Initially, the port installed the first desalination plant which only supplied 220 cubic meters of water a day throughout last year, but upon the enormous demand of quality water by the oil and gas services sector, additional desalination plant which supplies 800 cubic meters of water a day has been fully installed.
We have already gotten tanks, and thanks Halliburton. Halliburton has even given us also extra tanks that we can always store this water, and the water that we are producing is both for drill and also portable.
With the presence of the desalination plant, Takoradi Port no longer take water from Ghana Water Company for its operations, leaving enough water for residents of Takoradi. Oil and gas companies also no longer purchase water from Abidjan and Togo, but get free high-quality water from the completed plant. The port of Takoradi intends to supply a good amount of the water from the desalination plant to the residents of Takoradi as part of its corporate social responsibility.
The Bank of Ghana is charging technological firms to be innovative by developing innovative payment platforms which will ensure safety, reliability and efficiency in the payment systems within the Ghanaian economy.
I would like to assure Ghana's tech community that the Bank of Ghana will encourage innovation that will facilitate enhanced payment products that are efficient, safe, robust and accessible to both the banked and unbanked.
Speaking at the annual Innovation Week sponsored by GCNet, GRA, Bank of Ghana, etc., Dr. Henry Kofi Wampa noted that there is a challenge in the digital financial space, hence the need for actors to find solutions to those challenges.
The bank is aware that payment systems can involve significant exposures and risks, as well as be a channel for the transmission of disturbances from one part of the financial system to another. The bank therefore expects payment software developers to factor into the build of their tech architectures the necessary safeguards to forestall, if not eliminate, inherent risks in the digital system.
The Ghana Community Network Services Limited, however, highlighted some of its innovations to facilitate trade in Ghana.
But where with increasing use of mobile telephone in making such payments, for instance, it should be possible for the person sitting at Okanshi or Abosokan sales. What did you say the transaction is? The person being able to assess the particular transaction for him or her to know that I have to pay exactly maybe 1,000 Ghana cedis as a duty or 500 Ghana cedis as the processing fee, so that the person, somebody will not take advantage of the person.
Technology experts and innovators were also urged to develop systems that are less prone to fraud. Two national service personnel of the Ghana Ports and Harbours Authority have won the Barclays Bank Double Your Salo promotion. The two, Noela Dufie Amuba and Bridget Asabia Asare, doubled their salary through the promotion after patronizing the e-banking platform of the bank. At a presentation ceremony held at the Ghana Ports and Harbours Authority, Evelyn Aqua, head of products and at Barclays Bank, explained that the promotion was to reward customers who use the digital platform to transact business with the bank. She was optimistic the opportunity will go a long way to deepen the relationship between the bank and GPHA.
All you need to do is let your salary come through Barclays. Use Hello Money to transfer and add credit. and also use internet banking to transfer, check your balance. Just to go there, see your balance, it means the system will give you a reward.
Marketing and Public Relations Manager Paula Sari Ansa said the demonstration of faithfulness by the bank may motivate other workers to sign on to their products.
We share in their joy for winning the Barclays Double Your Salary promotion. The presentation you did to them or you made to them is an indication of Barclays delivering on its promise. And we appreciate this promotion. And we believe that it's a demonstration that will motivate other workers to sign on to your product and enjoy the benefits of double salary.
And there's something about the way your love shines on my face. Oh no, I can never get enough of you.
Star Assurance, creating smiles since 1985. Let go. Let's celebrate 30 years of solid partnership. Star Assurance, your solid partner.
I'll take care of you.
Banking with transparency, commitment to integrity. The Royal Bank, the Royal Bank.
The Royal Bank, real banking, real difference.
We've all heard stories about ports, about difficulties and challenges at the port. We think that to bring transparency to the port is very important for both the end consumers and even the people, some of the agents who work within the port. This program is very, very critical, and I think everybody who is involved in the port, in businesses that has impact on the port one way or the other, should make it a point to view it.
And coming up next are shadows of vessels sitting in the port, those coming from Anchorage and those expected for the coming week. Well, you can always send your concerns to us through the addresses that are scrolling beneath there on your screens. Share with us your concerns. If you've encountered any challenge within and around the port, please make sure you contact us, let us know, and hopefully we should be bringing you all solutions only on this platform. In the meantime, some of you have already sent yours, and take a listen.
Jawad Wadi writes, Iron Port, thanks for the good job you're doing. This is real service for Ghana, but I would like you to engage Ghanaian seafarers. Ghana Maritime Authority is currently issuing out STCW 1995, which is obsolete now, meaning all seafarers are to come home and renew their certificate by 1st January 2017 all over the world. Almost all countries have complied to STCW 2010. Please let them understand the implications of what they are doing. Well, Jawad, thanks for your email. We will definitely investigate and inform you further on this.
Well, that's it for this week's edition of Iron Port. I trust I have been able to place your eyes on the activities happening within the port and also bring the port's activities closer to you. Continue to get in touch with us with your concerns via the addresses scrolling beneath the screens there, because we'll definitely bring you answers here on this platform. My thanks to the entire crew, particularly Godwin Kabute, who is behind the camera. Also, Solomon Anderson assisted hugely the production as usual. Paul Asariansa, the executive producer. I'm Samuel Ajiman.